There comes a moment in life where you sense the ground isn't just changing, it's speaking. The Vega Collective, through THERON, reveals something few expected. Earth's light grid, the ancient web of energy beneath our feet, has shifted in a deep and permanent way. You may feel off balance lately, or like familiar routines just don't hold anymore. That isn't misfortune. That's realignment. The old pathways are no longer in charge. The rhythm beneath your steps has changed, and somewhere within your bones, your soul already knows. It's not chaos. It's a call. And the only way to answer is to feel. The moment the grid whispered your name, it didn't arrive with lightning or booming sounds. It came in stillness. A nudge in your breath, a sudden chill in your legs, maybe a moment where your eyes welled up for no reason. These moments don't explain themselves, but they're not random. That's how the grid speaks, not in noise, but in signals your soul still remembers. The earth has always had a pulse, a light current that runs deep under rivers, forests, cities, even under your bed at night. That pulse shifted, and when it did, it sent out something like a message, but not in words, in feelings, in strange awareness. That's why you might have felt emotional out of nowhere, or nostalgic without a reason. This whisper doesn't call your ears, it calls your core, like a memory buried beneath your life, suddenly stirred awake. Some feel it as tingling, others just stop mid-thought, forgetting what they were doing. That pause, that break in the pattern, that was contact, the earth checking if you were listening. You might have dismissed it, thought it was just stress, or hormones, or weather. But part of you paused, didn't it? Part of you knew something shifted. That's not imagination. That's a soul instinct, quiet but ancient. It doesn't shout. It gently taps from below and waits for you to lean in. This new grid doesn't use logic. It uses connection. It knows who you are, not who the world told you to be. It reaches the parts of you that feel too old, too strange, too soft to share with others. It reaches there and calls you by the name no one else hears. There's no announcement, no warning, just this sudden, subtle knowing that the world beneath your feet is no longer the one you woke up to yesterday. When groundedness no longer meant safety. There used to be a comfort in being grounded, feet on the floor, eyes on the familiar, following the known path. But after this grid shift, something strange has happened. What once felt steady now feels shaky. What once gave peace now feels empty. It's as if the ground changed the rules, without asking you first. Some people have felt it as a deep inner wobble. They can't explain it, but it feels like being unrooted, even while standing still, like walking through a memory that no longer fits. That's not anxiety. That's your body recalibrating to a new earth frequency. You might find that your old routines don't calm you anymore. Your meditation feels off. Your garden doesn't feel like home. The food you loved tastes different. These aren't just mood swings. It's because the earth's light lines, the pathways your energy used to follow, have moved. And now you're walking in a land that remembers you, but no longer matches your old shape. The irony. Feeling lost is now a sign that you're finally syncing with the real flow. The false feeling of control is crumbling, and in its place, a raw, deeper connection is forming, not built on habit, but on sensitivity, on instinct, on feeling your way forward without needing to know where it ends. That's terrifying for the mind. But the soul has waited for this for lifetimes, because true groundedness isn't safety, it's surrender. It's learning to stand barefoot in a world that's still reshaping under you, and trust that your balance will come from within. And sometimes the only way to find new ground is to let the old ground disappear beneath your feet. THERON's call, you were already anchored elsewhere. There's a part of you, deep, ancient, and often silent, that never truly anchored to this grid. And THERON, through the Vega Collective, calls that part forward now. Because while your feet touched earth, your essence was always tied to something else. Something off-world. Something far beyond the maps you were given. Maybe you've always felt out of place. Like you belonged, but not quite. Like you were playing a role, but the script didn't fit. That strange distance between you and the world. That wasn't disconnection. It was sacred delay. You weren't meant to fully root until now. The grid you feel shifting isn't just below, it's inside. It's your personal network of energy nodes finally waking up to match Earth's new alignment. The funny thing, you've been waiting. Even in your frustration, your soul has been in dialogue with something far older than the world's systems. THERON calls this anchoring elsewhere, not as a separation, but as a preparation. Like a traveler who knows they're in the right place, just not the right time. Until now. Until the grid moved. And now, it matches your design. Now it's your time. You're not becoming something new. You're stepping into the part of you that was always waiting. That's why it feels like your past is unzipping behind you. You didn't lose the thread. It was always weaving through a grid you couldn't access, until this shift made it visible. And now that it's here, the question isn't, what do I do? It's, what am I finally free to be? Why your body reacts before your mind understands. Have you noticed your body doing strange things lately? Your sleep patterns breaking, a tightness in your chest, tingling in your feet or hands, dreams so vivid they leave a residue, or sudden waves of sadness for no reason at all. That's not illness. That's your body responding before your thoughts can catch up. The light grid doesn't talk to your brain first. It talks to your field, to your organs, to the water inside you. Your cells hold memory, not just from this life, but from countless incarnations. When the Earth's grid shifted, it touched those memories first, before your mind had words for any of it. That's why it feels like emotion is coming from nowhere. Why your heart races at odd hours. Why you ache in places with no injury. Your body is not malfunctioning. It's tuning. It's trying to stabilize inside a song that just changed key. Your thoughts may argue, try to explain, try to deny, but your body knows better. It doesn't ask permission to feel. It just does. It grieves the old lines. It stretches toward the new ones. It remembers how to rewire itself into harmony, even if you can't explain why you started crying in the middle of the day. This is not spiritual failure. This is sacred biology. This is your body proving it's part of something far bigger than logic. Something ancient and alive and breathing beneath the floorboards of the world. And maybe the most honest part of you has always lived in the places you were told to ignore. The ancient pulse returning from beneath. There's a rhythm returning now, not loud, but undeniable, like a deep heartbeat pulsing from the center of the earth. Not metaphor, not poetry, a real living pulse that the old grid had buried, and the new one is allowing to rise again. Long ago, before cities hummed and towers blinked, there was a sound people could feel under their bare feet. A humming, a subtle warmth. They called it the dragon line, the mother's song, the deep memory. And now, it's returning. Not everywhere, but in places where silence is allowed, in hearts that are ready, in feet that have slowed down. This pulse doesn't arrive in dramatic fashion. It's a slow rise, a breath just under the ground. And when you feel it, maybe in the forest, or while standing alone on cold tiles, or even while falling asleep, you'll know. You'll know because your body will soften without explanation. It may not be pleasant at first. For some, it stirs grief. For others, a flood of joy. And still others just feel tears for no reason. That's the signal meeting resistance. The old grid held trauma in place. The new one, it's releasing it. Gently, but relentlessly. This ancient pulse is not here to impress you. It's here to invite you into relationship, into slowness, into memory. It asks for nothing but presence. And in return, it offers the feeling of being alive again. Not busy, not performing, just alive. And sometimes, the earth doesn't need us to understand. She just needs us to listen. You may be wondering now where this shift is actually taking us. Why certain places feel more alive while others feel empty. Ahead in this video, we'll explore the new lines of light forming between souls, why familiar energies are vanishing, and what it truly means to walk on a map that's still being drawn beneath your feet. Because as this living grid continues to evolve, your story isn't just changing, it's being rewritten through feeling, frequency, and a kind of quiet magic that can only be seen when your heart begins to remember what your mind forgot long ago. Lines of light are reconnecting forgotten souls. Something beautiful is happening beneath all the confusion, a reconnection, not just within the earth, but between people, between souls. The new light grid is rebuilding pathways that were long broken. You may have already felt it, a sudden closeness with someone unexpected, a reconnection after years, or even meeting a stranger who feels anciently familiar. These lines aren't just energetic, they're soul cords, webs of memory and purpose that were once severed by time, trauma, or timelines shifting apart. But now, as the grid beneath us repairs, those cords start to glow again, and when they do, people find each other, often quietly, often without needing words. Have you ever cried after a conversation that felt oddly healing? Or walked away from someone new and felt lighter without knowing why? That's not just chemistry. That's soul circuitry realigning. The new grid is relational. It doesn't just stabilize your body. It weaves you into a deeper human tapestry. Some connections may return, others may fade, and both are part of this grid work. Because as Earth rewrites her energetic lines, your relationships, the ones built on old frequencies, may no longer fit. And that's not abandonment, that's redirection. Not everyone is meant to walk the new lines with you. You'll notice people reappearing with shared dreams, shared visions, shared aches. They're not new in your story, just forgotten chapters being reintroduced by the current underneath your life. And once those lights lock in, it's as if something larger is remembering itself through you both. You are not just healing, you are helping the grid remember who it once connected. The collapse of familiar energies is not the end. It's jarring when the old comforts stop working, when your favorite space doesn't feel right, when your energy tools feel empty. Crystals, rituals, music, all once powerful, now suddenly flat. You may wonder if something's wrong with you, but nothing is broken. The old energy fields are collapsing because they no longer belong to this frequency. The shift in the grid is like moving from one operating system to another. Everything familiar needs to be recalibrated, not discarded, but upgraded. The collapse isn't a loss, it's a clearing, making space for tools that don't just soothe, but resonate with what you are becoming. It's strange, isn't it, to look at a place that once felt sacred and feel nothing. That's grief. That's the disconnection between the old earth and the one you're now walking on. This dissonance can be painful, but it's also sacred. It's your signal to release, not because it wasn't real, but because it served its time. You'll likely experience a thinning of emotions around certain people too. The grid isn't just shifting locations, it's shifting permission. It's pulling you from obligation into resonance. Some people won't match anymore. That doesn't mean love is lost. It just means alignment has changed. This is the death of energetic familiarity. And like any ending, it's quiet, bittersweet. You may not even notice until one day you try to return to something, and it no longer opens for you. That's the new grid protecting your evolution. Not all endings are failures. Some are doors quietly closing because something brighter is finally on its way. You're walking on a map that's still being drawn. You used to know your way around, emotionally, spiritually, even physically. You had anchors. But now, even the air feels different. The places you trusted for peace might make you anxious. The steps you once took with ease feel unfamiliar. That's not regression. That's walking on a living map, one that's being drawn under you. The light grid's shift didn't come with instructions. That's the point. You're not following an old trail. You're making new ones. Every moment of choice, every emotion faced with honesty, every act of courage, leaves a mark. You're drawing lines where none existed before. There's a vulnerability in that, because you don't get to see the full design yet. You just get hints, feelings, a pull here, a discomfort there. This is navigation by resonance, not logic. It's what the ancient ones called earth walking. You don't just move through the land moves through you. You might feel lost at times. That's natural, because the grid is learning you as much as you are learning it. You're not just a traveler, you're a co-creator now, and that means your hesitations matter. Your tears leave impressions. Your joy leaves color. The beauty of this? No one else's map will match yours. You're not late. You're not behind. Because every soul draws their lines differently. Some fast, some slow, some spiral, some zigzag, and each one adds to the collective design now forming beneath us all. Sometimes the path isn't revealed by looking forward, but by turning around and realizing where your heart has already been leading you. The stillness between each shift is sacred. Between the big moments of awakening, the waves, the signs, the dreams, there is a strange quiet, and in that silence, many feel empty, forgotten, confused. But what if that stillness isn't absence? What if it's sacred space being held open just for you? This is where integration happens. Not when everything is moving, but when everything stops. Your cells, your field, your memory, they don't upgrade all at once. They need time, breathing room. That's what the grid offers after every wave, a pause. Not because something's wrong, but because something is working its way in. Ever had a few days where nothing makes sense? Where your usual clarity vanishes? That's a sign of integration. It means the last shift changed something, and your system is rewiring, not on the surface, but in the roots. You don't need to chase insight during these times. You just need to be. Stillness may feel frustrating, like you're being left behind, but in truth, you're being wrapped, held, rewritten quietly from the inside out. The earth doesn't always evolve in earthquakes. Sometimes it happens in the deep stillness of a foggy morning, when nothing seems to move, but everything is changing. Give yourself permission to rest in that space, not as escape, but as preparation, because after stillness comes the next wave, and you'll need your roots deep and strong for what's coming, not because it's hard, but because it's sacred. What if the stillness you've been resisting is actually the place where the divine sits closest to you? Your feet remember paths that no longer exist. Have you ever walked into a familiar place and felt like it didn't recognize you anymore? Or stood in your childhood home and felt like a ghost in your own memory? That's not nostalgia, that's resonance mismatch. Your feet remember, but the grid has moved. Our bodies hold a kind of muscle memory, not just of motion, but of energy. We return to old paths expecting the same comfort, the same connection, but the grid doesn't freeze in time, it evolves. And as it does, the places we once found sacred might become quiet, still beautiful, but no longer home. This can feel like betrayal, like the earth has pulled away, but in truth, she's calling you forward, asking you to build new pathways, to let go of comfort, not because it wasn't meaningful, but because you've outgrown it, and the new earth requires a deeper presence from you now. Your feet might ache. You might wander. You might return to old places again and again, trying to feel something that once gave you light. But light, like water, moves. And now, it's waiting for you somewhere else. Somewhere new. Somewhere unfamiliar, but holy. The challenge is trusting that your memory is not wrong. It's just outdated. It served a version of you that no longer exists. And now, your soul is mapping new routes, even if your mind still longs for the old ones. Sometimes healing means saying goodbye to the places you once loved, so you can finally arrive where your soul has always belonged. What happens when the grid under your feet no longer honors your past, but is guiding your future? As we move forward in this video, we'll step deeper into the emotional echoes of the new earth, how dreams are now flowing through different timelines, and why disorientation, confusion, and deep longing are actually sacred signs that your soul is realigning with a memory far older than this life. What you're walking into isn't chaos, it's sacred reconstruction. And what comes next may change the way you experience space, time, and even love itself. Emotions surfacing from the new grid's echo. You may be feeling more emotional than usual lately. Tears that seem to rise from nowhere. Old grief you thought you'd buried years ago. A sudden joy that cracks open your chest, only to disappear just as fast. That isn't instability. That's echo. The new grid is stirring memory pockets in the emotional body, and they're rising like bubbles. You see, the earth doesn't just hold mountains and oceans. She holds feelings. And now that the grid has shifted, the emotional debris once sealed beneath the surface is being released. Not all at once, not violently, but steadily. Through you. Some of these emotions aren't even yours. Some come from ancestral lines, from past lives, from old grid points where trauma once occurred, trauma that was never allowed to move. But energy doesn't stay stuck forever, and the moment the grid realigned, the cork popped. That's why your sadness might not make sense, or why a childhood memory comes back with new weight. These aren't flashbacks. These are emotional recalibrations. Like the earth is finally exhaling through you, and your tears, they're part of that sacred breath. There is no fixing here. No need to rush the process. Just witness. Let the emotion pass through like weather. Unpredictable, sacred, and fleeting. The new grid holds enough strength now to carry what you can't. Let her hold it with you. The more you feel, the more space you make for light to settle where pain once lived. Why disorientation means you're tuning in. Have you had trouble knowing what day it is? Lost track of conversations mid-thought? Walked into rooms and forgotten why? This isn't forgetfulness. It's disorientation caused by energetic expansion. Your inner compass isn't broken. It's recalibrating to a new set of coordinates. The light grid shift didn't just adjust the outside world. It altered the fields through which your perception flows. That means your senses, time, space, memory, are being asked to stretch. You're tuning into something more dimensional now. And like a radio finding a new station, there's static at first. It's uncomfortable. Your mind wants structure, but your soul, it wants freedom. That tension between the two is disorientation. You feel out of rhythm because you are, but that's exactly how new rhythms find you, in the in-between moments where nothing quite makes sense. You may feel like withdrawing, and that's okay. Quiet is where this adjustment anchors. You don't need more stimulation. You need presence. Every moment of gentle stillness is like a tuning fork, helping your energy settle into the new lattice of light around you. The Vega sequence, activating Earth's heartline. There's a code carried by the Vega Collective, a harmonic known as the heartline sequence. THERON speaks of it as a rhythm of light, encoded with unconditional coherence, not to dominate, but to awaken. And now, that code is active again, in Earth, and in you. This heartline doesn't move like electricity. It moves like music. A low hum beneath the surface. It weaves through ley lines, touches trees, pulses in sacred sites, and stirs in people who carry a certain resonance. If you've been feeling a deeper ache for beauty lately, a longing for connection that words can't reach, this is part of it. The heartline isn't an idea. It's a frequency, and it speaks directly to the center of your chest. That's why you may feel tightness, a slow, strange warmth, or emotional openings that feel both painful and pure. Your heart isn't breaking, it's responding. THERON describes this sequence like a song the earth forgot how to sing, and now remembers. But she can't sing it alone. She needs voices, beings, humans who are willing to feel that song rise through them, even if it cracks something open in the process. Dreams now travel through a new lattice. Have your dreams been changing? Becoming more vivid, or more symbolic, or slipping away the moment you wake? That's not just a shift in your sleep. It's a change in the way dreams move. They're no longer traveling the same routes. The lattice they once used has evolved. You see, dreams are not imagination. They're movement, messages, memory surfacing from places your waking self can't touch. And with the new light grid in place, the dream pathways have expanded. That's why your dreams feel stranger now. They're accessing timelines and teachings that were once sealed away. Some dreams may feel ancient, others may make no sense at all. But pay attention to how they feel, not what they show. A flicker of grief, a surge of wonder. That's where the message lives, in the frequency, not the plot. You might begin to meet familiar strangers in your sleep, or revisit versions of yourself long forgotten, or even feel like you're working, healing, gathering, while your body rests. That's because the new grid has opened up a multi-layered dream field. It's not linear anymore. It's alive. You're not lost. You're being realigned. It's easy to think something's wrong when you feel like you've lost your direction. When everything familiar fades, and the future won't form clearly. You feel like you're floating, but not free, drifting, but not dreaming. That's not failure. That's realignment. The new light grid has pulled you out of old patterns, even if they were working, because they were built on foundations that were no longer true. And so now, you're in this between space. Not where you were, not yet where you're going. And that space, it's where soul work really begins. You may feel like nothing is solid anymore, but maybe solidity isn't the goal. Maybe you're not meant to land yet. Maybe you're meant to learn how to hover, to sense, to find your own resonance instead of grabbing onto what others built. This feeling of being lost is your inner compass refusing to follow old maps. It's painful, but honest. And sometimes the most powerful growth doesn't come from discovery. It comes from unlearning, from softening into the unknown.